Awesome. So let's talk about how we're going to write each job description of your LinkedIn profile now that we've sort of tackled the top. Again, I will reiterate what I said in the very beginning. Your LinkedIn and your resume are not the same thing, and you should not strive to make them the same thing, and you should not strive to make them similar. LinkedIn is just a taste of who you are as a professional, so people are enticed to reach out to you, interact with you, ask for your resume, ask for an interview, ask to meet you and chat with you for coffee. It should not give out the whole thing like a resume does. So the first thing we do is very similar to what we did right now. We just wrote a one-sentence description of what you stand for as a professional and what defines you. It's usually good to start with the same type of mindset when you write the first bullet or the description of each job on your LinkedIn. So writing a one-sentence, no-frills description of what you did at your last 3 or 4 jobs and putting that inside of LinkedIn is completely sufficient. There's not any need for bullet points on your LinkedIn. There are some exceptions, and I will cover this, but generally that is 100% sufficient for your LinkedIn profile. Here's some examples. So for instance, here's somebody who worked at Christie's, and they supported the finance controller and SVP director with cost reductions, conducted an audit to improve efficiency between accounting and business development. That's absolutely 100% sufficient for your LinkedIn profile. If you're senior, less is more. The more senior you are, the less kind of bullet points or personalized explanations or information there should be on your LinkedIn profile. So for instance, here's the example of what the Chief Human Resources Officer of Eventbrite has on their profile. Basically nothing. There's no description of what they do. And here's an example of VP of People and Places at Niantic. A lot of times more senior folks would actually describe what the company does versus what they do individually. And so this is another example of how senior people tackle their LinkedIn profiles. If you're junior, then we want to add a little bit more color, but we don't want to go crazy with it. We're going to avoid adjectives, any hyperbole. We're not going to lean on metrics unless it actually makes sense to do that. And what does this help if you're junior, but not help you if you're senior? Well, if you're junior, what you really want people to know is that you are working very hard and you're incredibly ambitious to reaching the next level of your career. You want people to know you're an overachiever. You want people to know you're really reliable beyond the responsibilities. You want people to know that you're hungry, that the job that you have right now is not enough for you and you're looking for the next step. And so you're really trying to kind of build your network and connect with people like that way. When you're senior, people are trying to connect to you. And so you don't have the problem of having to prove yourself and justify yourself in the same way. So here's 2 examples of what not to do and what to do. A bad example is adding things like successfully managed and supervised 3 separate project teams, resulting in 16% increase in productivity. Why is this a bad example? First of all, adjectives in this case does not help you. If you didn't manage this project successfully, would you have mentioned it? So successfully doesn't bring any value here. And in terms of 16% increase in productivity, relative to what? What does 16% mean? The 16%, mean 1 unit or, 1,000 units? It's really not clear unless somebody doesn't understand what your business does contextually. The 16% doesn't really move the needle for me. It's much more specific to say something like hired and trained 8 new team members that everybody reading will 100% relate to because it's very uncontextual to the business that you're in. Anybody would understand what training 8 people means. Not many people would understand 16% increase in productivity when it's not relative to anything else or contextualize what that actually means for the business. The way that you want to think about your bullet points if you're junior is you want to think of 3 to 4 examples in each past job that prove you are exceptional in one of these 3 areas. And we're only going to stick in these 3 buckets, and we're not going to stray and give examples that don't fall in here. So the 3 buckets are identifying a win, rallying the team, or iterating or optimizing. These are the things that employers really care about. So Was there a time when you saw an opportunity and you really showed a ton of initiative in executing it, either on your free time or rallying folks around you to help you do it? Was there a time when there were no resources available to do a job and you really stepped up to the plate and figured out an ingenious way to get something done? Was there a time when you were really leading the morale of the team and you did something to uplift everybody? Or was there a situation where you saw an opportunity to make a process so much more efficient by finding a hack that wasn't obvious to anybody else? These are the prized accomplishments that an employer would really love to read on your resume. What makes you stand out? What makes you special? What makes you professionally creative? Think of examples like that and identify those in the bullet points if you're going to use bullet points in your LinkedIn.
Candor helps tech professionals get paid more.